everyone. Thanks for joining Jeff and I today on our webcast. Today we're going to talk about return to the office. Seems to be a hot topic. Jamie Dimon was just doing an interview and apparently using some colorful language about expressing his opinion on returning to the office.
Yeah, I think he was at a town hall and somebody recorded him with their cell phone. And so the audio leaked, and
Mhm.
we have it. Do you want to hear what he said?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to share my screen here because it is on YouTube. All right. Here we are.
A lot of you were on the fucking Zoom and you were doing the following, okay? Looking at your mail, sending texts to each other about what an asshole the other person is, okay? Not paying attention, not reading your stuff, and if you don't think that slows down efficiency, creativity, creates rudeness and stuff, it does, okay? And when I found out that people are doing that, you don't do that in my goddamn meetings. You go to a meeting with me, you got my attention, you got my focus. I don't bring my goddamn phone. I'm not sending texts to people, okay? It simply doesn't work. And it doesn't work for creativity. It slows down decision making. And don't give me the shit that work from home Friday works. I call a lot of people on Friday. There's not a goddamn person to get a hold of. But here are the problems, okay? And they
So I
are
think that's enough.
substantial.
So yeah, very colorful comments, aren't they? And
Absolutely.
several Canadian banks have followed suit. Royal Bank is mandating 4 days a week. Scotia is as well, and the Bank of Montreal recently made that announcement just a couple weeks ago.
And that's coming in the fall, this coming
Yeah,
fall.
September. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see how much compliance there is to that, though, because if you look at what they're doing in the States, lots of companies have mandated a return to the office either 4 or 5 days a week, but
Hmm.
yet a lot of people just aren't following their orders.
Right. Very slow progression for sure.
Yeah, very slow.
And it's been hurting like a company like Allied that owns office space, buildings and things in Toronto, Montreal, and BC.
Yeah, we figured with the large percentage of CEOs wanting their employees back in the office, is this stock one we want to purchase for clients? So, as you say, Allied Properties is in major urban centers in Canada, and they used to trade at a very healthy valuation. Since the pandemic, its multiple is now 60% cheaper. So, I mean,
Mhm.
of course, we have to have a look. Um, Unfortunately, their occupancy rate, though, has fallen. At the in 2019, I believe it was 94%,
Mm.
and today it's dropped to about 87.
Right. And they pay out a healthy distribution to shareholders.
Yeah.
So without the occupancy in their buildings, 2025, 2026, looking a little bit iffy.
Yeah, because right now they pay out just under 100% of their free cash flow in that dividend. For a real
Mhm.
estate investment trust, call it a distribution, but it's no different than a dividend, other than for some tax consequences. But nevertheless, they're paying out almost all of their cash flow through that distribution. And next year and the year after that, it's going to be over 100%. So they've been selling
Mhm.
off some non-core assets to pay down debt so that their interest expense is lower because they want to maintain the distribution. However, if they don't get that occupancy up, I think they might have to cut that because they've committed to maintain the distribution for 2025. 2026, however, is less certain.
Right. Absolutely. So, but the return to the office, I guess all of the companies are agreeing to. It really does help with development, collaboration, mentorship, and everything else. Just overall efficiency and productivity. So maybe Allied
Yeah,
will be luck.
a lot of people like working from home, so
Yeah,
it's tough to mandate. It really is. And if you have a company with employees and you aren't offering a hybrid work environment, people can just express their opinion with their feet. They can go work somewhere else.
right.
So that's of course something we're seeing in the States where if you can mandate a back to the office 4 day a week sort of situation, but if it's not enforced, it won't be followed.
Right.
So
And
we
you,
decided to sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say that that we have purchased some real estate income trusts for clients, not Allied, but other ones in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah, we have
Do you want to get into
two
that?
other ones that we own, and I'm much more comfortable owning those ones than I would be purchasing office. We're going to keep an eye on this trend though to see if let's see what happens in the fall. Um, just because they might cut the distribution, that doesn't mean the stock price goes down. Bell Canada or BCE rather, they cut their dividend a few months ago, and the stock price is up about 10% since then.
Hmm.
Anytime a stock yields a very high percentage, right now Allied is 10%. That's usually the market pricing in a dividend cut. And when the cut actually happens, the price doesn't necessarily go down because everyone's
Yeah.
expecting it. But the CEO was on TV a few months ago, and I'll just read to you her quote. So they asked her, is the distribution sustainable? And she said, I don't see us increasing it. It's a conversation we have with our board every quarter. We will certainly maintain it for 2025, and we'll reassess whether to increase or maintain it in December. So she started by
Hmm.
saying they're not going to increase it, but then said
Yeah.
that they'll reassess it in December. So I think a
Yeah.
cut's coming. But as I
Hmm.
say, I think it's priced in. So I don't know if the stock would drop substantially. But
Okay.
nevertheless, we did pass on this just because we're seeing that vacancy rates have stabilized. They're not going down anymore, but they haven't really started to go up.
Yeah.
So let's see how much adoption there is in September based on these
Hmm.
three banks requiring employees to come back to work. And well, we didn't mention it, but foot traffic is down still in Toronto, down about 40% since 2019 levels. And
That's substantial.
yeah, very substantial. So if we see more people coming back to the office, we may change our mind on this idea. But for now, it's just on our watch list.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. All
Yeah.
right. Talk to you
Okay.
soon, Jeff.
Thanks,
Thanks.
honey.
Bye.